Hi, a few people have asked me what exercises I do, so I'm going to make a video showing you some bodyweight exercises that I do and finishing off with resistance band work. So this part of the video, I'm going to just show you the technique for the 3 core exercises. This exercise here is called a Bethak or a Hindu squat. So you see my hands drive down behind my hips as I descend, and that keeps the chest moving forward. Turning to the side, you'll see it again. And then as I go down, I come up on my toes. Slightly controversial, some of this, because some people would say, don't ever let your knees go over your toes. I should say that I'm not a personal trainer or a qualified physiotherapist, so please do consult with your doctor before you take any of this. This is just what I do. The second exercise is called a Dands or a Hindu push-up. You'll see I take a very wide stance, move forward into something like a downward dog, flatten my back as much as possible, and then I come down. Almost with my nose grazing the ground as I come up. I'm showing you a variation whereby, and this is called a dive bomber push-up, I should say, whereby you come back the way you came on the descent. That's much harder. When I'm doing the exercise routine, I will stick with the normal Dands. I won't be doing the dive bomber push-ups. This is a wrestler's bridge. Again, some controversy around this exercise. I have found it to be very good, but that's not to say that it's for everyone. Most certainly it is not. I'm just showing you what I do. When I interlace my fingers and pull my hands up, it activates the middle of the back, which makes the exercise harder on the latissimus dorsi. I've just got a little tea towel there to protect my head. So here I sped up the video because it's just me doing lots of repetitions of this. What I'm doing is I'm using a timer where I put 50 seconds on the clock and then I rest for 10 seconds. I do 2 rounds of the Bethaks or the Hindu squats, 2 rounds of the Dands or Hindu push-ups, and then 2 rounds of the wrestler's bridge. And I repeat that twice. So in total, there's 12 rounds, 50 seconds on, 10 seconds off, moving through the exercises. What I really like about these exercises is that it brings a lot of different activities into one. It's strength-based. It's very difficult to do, especially if you're moving at that sort of pace of 50 seconds on, 10 seconds off. It stretches the body out tremendously in lots of different planes. So the posterior chain, that's to say the calf muscles, the hamstrings, the glutes, the lower back, the shoulders, they get a good stretch on the downward dog, and then the anterior chain gets a really good stretch here in the bridge, into the hip flexors. You can see my diaphragm working really hard here. I'm trying as much as I can to push the hips up and get my ankles to come right into my butt muscles, so that I can try to bring the heels and my head as close as I can together. This is really hard. You can see me shaking. I'm having to change my position just to shake it out a little bit. Now it's back to the Bethaks and moving, showing you at real speed what this looks like now. And again, you can see that this is very taxing for not only the quadriceps, the thigh muscles, but also the hips. I'm getting a good stretch in my shoulders on the way back. I'm breathing out as I go down, and then I inhale on the way up. So it's breathe out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in. And by just through the repetition, the heart and lungs are going so hard. So again, you get strength, you get flexibility, mobility, you get a good cardio workout, all in the space of about, well, when I do the 50 seconds and 10 seconds, 12 rounds, with the resistance band work as well, we're looking at maybe 15 minutes of work. But by the end of it, I am pretty much exhausted. Just carrying on through. And again, as I said, this exercise is controversial. Many physical therapists would say don't pass the knees over the toes. I've heard that many times before. I've adhered to that through most of my training, but if I share a little story, in October 2019, I suffered a knee injury, which pretty much stopped me from running, which is something I've enjoyed doing in the past. But with this exercise, with the Hindu squats, the Bethaks, along with rest, ice, compression, and elevation, I'm now back to pretty much full strength again. Again, here we're doing the Dands, or the Hindu push-ups. Now this is becoming really hard. I've taken quite a wide stance on this, mainly because I'm not very flexible in my calves, hamstrings, and lower back. Others might be able to get their legs a bit closer together, and that might give a different stretch. I'm also going down to my elbows on the down swoop, and this brings in the triceps a lot more when I'm pushing up. Taking my 10 seconds rest here, getting reset for the next round. And in this video as well, I've not eaten any breakfast. This was filmed at about midday on May 3rd, 2020. So I'm exercising with no food, but that helps me get my metabolism going, and I find that a lot easier to complete all the exercises with having no food in me. Really struggling now, and the impact on the chest muscles here is all the way through. It might look like it's only the lower chest that's being impacted, but the descent is targeting all of the shoulder muscles, the control of the upper chest, and then push on the upward dog, if you want to call it that, the upward dog element of it. I'm really pushing through with the lower chest. Again, you can see how hard I'm breathing now through the diaphragm, and this is taxing me. The hamstrings, the glutes, the lower back, the mid-thoracic, mid-back, and upper back are all completely contracted because I've got my hands clasped and off the ground. Again, this is not an exercise for everybody necessarily. I've been doing this for some time, and so I might be a little bit more conditioned than other people. If you're not as conditioned, there are other exercises that you might look at, such as the table. Here I'm really tired by this point now, so I'm putting my hands down to take a little bit of the stress off of my lower back, glutes, and hamstrings. But I can tell you that they're all on fire, completely on fire. And I'm trying to control my breathing as much as possible. I'm striving for about 10 seconds, 5 seconds on the in breath, 5 seconds on the out breath, just to slow everything down. So that's the 3 core exercises. Now I'm going to do the resistance band stuff. This is just really to finish. So some shoulder work. I mean, the shoulders are already taxed. So you can see I'm fighting so hard just to get this all finished. But the shoulders are completely taxed. The back is taxed. The chest is taxed. I'm now going to do some more targeted work on the back, some rows. And these resistance bands are fantastic because they're so portable. And you can really change the resistance at a moment's notice by taking a wider stance or changing up how much length there is on them. With the back here, I'm now really trying to squeeze the lats all together. Some triceps, just finishing here. Yeah, they're done. Everything's done, to be perfectly honest. I'm fighting for just a couple of inches of movement. Last exercise now, biceps. These are pretty much fried from the back exercises. Last one, go on, man. That's it, done. Today was a cold day, but you can see that pretty much in 15 minutes, completely sweated out. Take care.